postseason. We actually going to make a big splash here, and I'm sure they could have timed it out a little bit differently, but the timing was curious. A lot of people thought Lakers, you know what? That's how you steal right. That's how you steal headlines from your rival. And when they're actually, at their peak, right? That's the zenith of the mountain for them. And yet, the Lakers have pretty much made their, I don't know, they're basking in the glow of their championship. It hasn't lasted that long. It felt like we kind of shifted from Celtics title to Lakers coaching vacancy and coaching hire pretty quickly.
Yeah,
and I feel like CDC did the same thing. Now, obviously the Aggies didn't win. But I think the anticipation was that even if they had won, like he's gonna, and he did in a way, just kind of snatch some of the mojo from the Aggies, because a lot of the talk right before the game last night became, oh man, Texas, and the rumors, oh, Texas is going to get one of these two coaches. Oh, yes. And it might be the Aggie coach. And then Aggie Nation just lost their freaking mind. And they just went crazy. And then I feel like it was intentional and diabolical, and I'm here for it, CDC. Well done.
It was well done to put it out on the day. And I mean, he may have said, I'm going to do this Monday, so if you guys finish it off on Sunday, you get it. Well, I'll give you a shot to finish it off on Sunday. If you guys can win the two in a row, this won't happen. I mean, we'll ruin your celebration, but
I'll save it for right there. Exactly. He was going to pull the Lakers thing, and then he was like, "Damn it, you know what? I'll wait. Anyway. I'll wait on it." He was going to either way. He was going to spoil it for the Aggies. He was going to. He's like, and I think the only reason he didn't wait till after, he's like, yeah, but what if they don't win and I do it after? It's not going to be as good. This is the perfect time to snatch some headlines away from him, and also to infuse paranoia within that fan base. Let's do it. He's like the Joker on the Dark Knight, basically. I mean, at Doc Texas, I threw that out there. It's and I love it. It's essentially what you have here, and I love it.
You know what? I'm not a big message board guy anymore. I was when I was younger, but it's too much in there now. Like, social media is enough. I can't go into message boards, but I'll see every once in a while people will post stuff from the Aggie message boards, and they're always hilarious. Like, we saw the one that, there was the two guys who got ejected, the two fans who got ejected for some awful taunting that happened. And then there was message boards that were basically claiming that they were UT fans in disguise.
Yes, they were plants, man.
They were plants to make A&M look bad. Stuff like that. That's just really fun. That I'm like, man, the message boards have got to be a lot of fun yesterday and today.
Exactly. It's a great point. I can't. You know what? I'm gonna have to go search my timeline to see if I did see that post too. Yes. Coach, I was doing a show with Coach Bob Shipley, and he brought it up. So it's made its way around Longhorn Nation, and I think every Longhorn is enjoying that. But if indeed. And we'll hear from Coach Schlossnagle, because he was asked about this. And by the way, kudos to the journalist who asked him, because it's a tough question to ask after you lose the national title. But you got to ask it, man. Everybody wants to know. It's the big story. I'm sorry. I know you don't want – you want to talk about your team and your journey and how great he was. Yeah, You're right. It was a great journey. The first time the Aggies, competing for a national title in a major sport since what? Like the 30s or something like that. I mean, it's been a long time since they were in a national title game in a major sport. It's been a long time. I believe CB will throw it out there. They're like 1939 or something like that. I always have a friend Ricky, my man Ricky V, softball Ricky, always says, oh man, the Aggies had competed in a championship in a major sport. Last time they did that, Hitler was still considered a cool dude. That's his favorite Aggie joke. It's a good one. It's a good one. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good one. But he can't say that anymore, by the way. Well, I guess he can say one. He can say last time they won. He can still go with a joke. But my point is, so the rumor was that Texas is going to get one of the two coaches competing in the national championship. Of course, one of them is your bitter rival, the Aggies. And like I said, if indeed this is where CDC was going, that's some Nino Brown, Kaiser Sose, Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker type stuff going on, man. So he was asked about it, Jim Schlossnagle, after the game and after he lost to Tennessee. Here's what the head coach of the Aggies had to say.
I think it's pretty selfish of you to ask me that question, to be honest with you. But I left my family to be the coach at Texas A&M. I took the job at Texas A&M to never take another job again. And that hasn't changed in my mind. And that's unfair to talk about something like that. That'd be like you asking Montgomery if he's going to sign in the draft. But I understand you got to ask the question. But I gave up a big part of my life to come take this job, and I've poured every ounce of my soul in this job, and I've given this job every single ounce I can possibly give it. Write that.
Coach, thank you very much.
All right. Thoughts, Patrick? Pretty definitive? I mean, we've seen some statements like that before, and then coaches still do what they want to do. But what do you think?
Every coaching candidate for Texas, the top ones, have all said they're not coming. And it feels like David Pierce wouldn't have been fired if that's true. Just feels that way. And again, David Pierce, they said that's mutual as well. But it feels like if that wasn't the case, then this would have happened 2 weeks ago, and the coaching search would have been on, and all of that's just normally, that's all the pieces. We can go into CDC, normally already has his guy when somebody gets let go. Historically, David Pierce has hired guys pretty quickly after letting the last coach go.
CDC, yeah.
So we know that. So with Pierce now, it feels like he knows something. Now, that would lead me to believe that it may not be either one of these coaches in the championship game, and that he's got someone else, and he just kind of wanted to spoil their fun, and it was another coach that would be there. So he wanted to spoil their fun, but he had somebody else he's already had conversations with. They're ready to go. That was not as definitive as I would have expected it to be. Okay. I would have expected to be a little bit more definitive, but I think, he knows the same deal. He's pissed off. He just lost the game, He's not. I don't think he wants to dig his heels in that far either. At that point, he just wants to stop answering the question and not give them the soundbite they really wanted.
Yeah, he obviously didn't like the question. You let that be known.
Yeah,
he knows it's coming at the end of the statement.
Yeah, and in the middle of the statement, he understands. Like, I get you got to do this. Yeah, this is your job, and this is what you're supposed to do.
He's a good guy. He's like, but I'm in a bad mood right now. Yeah, I was like, we get it. Everybody's walking on eggshells. So everybody understands. But you're right. I mean, it's still, like I said, it would still even be diabolical. And I said, even in a genius way by CDC, if he's got his guy already, he's got nothing to do with these two coaches in the national title game. And yet just still to spoil the party or to give Texas some free media. Hey, you know what? Let me just go ahead and do this right now. And like I said, either way, I'm all for it. I'm a big fan. And by the way, CDC has done such a great job at hiring. I'm not even really stressed about who it's going to be. That's because he's really done a good job of hiring so far. I mean, and the Sark hire was a grand slam, and most of the hires that we've seen from CDC so far, I mean, they have been really good hires. Whether you're talking, in different sports, where you're talking about softball,
Vic Schaefer,
really good. Vic Schaefer has been fantastic
because Vic Schaefer, that was another one where I think it was within a day or two from them letting go Karen Aston that Vic Schaefer was in Austin. One. So you're saying there's been a few of these ones that have been hired. Sark was not that long after Tom Herman. It was within a few days.
It didn't take long, no.
And so all these coaches it's been a very quick turnaround that he normally knows what he's doing by the time that announcement comes out. He doesn't leave Texas fans, and especially, I think more importantly, he doesn't leave the students and the recruits that long without having an answer for them, because that's really a super important part, of not, losing any of your recruits, not losing any transfers, not losing anybody like that. So he's been pretty good about that. It makes you believe that he knows who he's got. The people I had talked to, in the last 2 weeks had given me the impression that that he knew who he was going to sign, and it was already a done deal that Pierce was gone and there was a new coach in waiting, and they just had to wait till things played out. But I was never told who that was. I was just told.
And play out means like, are we just, like you said, playing spoiling like and stealing headlines, or we're waiting literally for logistically for this thing to
for
play
one
out,
of those
and
coaches.
Then that's what we don't know. But I'm all here for the drama. And the short list from everything I can gather is, of course, the two. Tony Vitello, the head coach of Tennessee, Jim Schlossnagle, as we just played you, the head coach of A&M. A lot of people is it Eric Bakich, the Clemson head coach? A lot of people are really high on him as well. So he's on that. I heard him mentioned on that short list too.
I've also heard Jay Johnston, the LSU head coach. He is listed on that short list as well.
So it's not a long list.
And Bakich and Johnson have both already denied that they're going to take the job. They've both been asked about it.
That's already out there.
So everyone but I believe Vitello has denied that they're taking the job.
Oh.
But I don't know. Maybe he did last night too.
He might have too, and we just haven't caught up with it. Yeah. So, well, like you said, everybody initially,
everybody turns it,
you can deny it, and then what happens? But I will say, if it is Schlossnagle, I mean, you're talking about, that would be
nuclear heat.
So gangster.
Nuclear heat.
You're talking about your first year in the SEC, and you're gonna go steal your bitter rivals coach, the first coach to take them to a national championship in a major sport since 1939 or whatever it is, and you're gonna go steal that guy. And that would be, like I said, that's like moving into the neighborhood of your hated rival and then banging their wife. Like, that is some hardcore stuff, man. That is the athletic equivalent of hit 'em up or not like us. Like, that is like, come on, the CDC, that'd be cold blooded if that was it. I don't think that's happening. I'm gonna say right now, I don't think the Aggies wouldn't let it happen. Do you know what the psychological trauma and damage that would do to the Aggies? If that was the case, I don't think they would let it happen. I think they would pay Schlossnagle some they'd pay him football coach money before they would let that happen. They just can't.
Do you think since CDC and Schlossnagle are friends that he's doing this to get Schlossnagle some more money?
Could be. Exactly.
There's going to be a little bit of CDC being like, hey, man, I know you can't come here. I know we couldn't work out a deal. Maybe we talk, but I'll tell you what. I'll do this the day before you go out, and I'm going to get you paid, buddy.
I'll get you some cash. You know what, dude? As I'm saying, but it helps him too, though, right? Yeah. It helps out CDC. He's like, you know what? I get us the headlines. Like, hey, I'm good with that. Texas wants some headlines. We can steal some headlines, some free media. So it would be kind of a quid pro quo, but I'm with you on that because his is good for Schlossnagle, even if it's Schlossnagle's agent. Who's like, nah, you know what, dude, I got you. This is good. Trust me, we can work with this. All right. Just, I don't know, who kind of started the rumor. We just know there's a connection, and CDC is a man that gets things done. To your point about Schlossnagle getting money, he made $1.3 million in 2024, according to his contract. His buyout is twice his salary if he's hired by another in-state school. This is from my man Danny Davis, who does a great job. Danny Davis also threw out there this little factoid that since 1947, just 3 College World Series winning coaches haven't returned to their schools the next season. And since 1947, just 1 College World Series runner-up coach hasn't returned to his school the next season. So it's rare. It's, to get one of the coaches from one of the teams that competes in the national title game to leave. But if anybody can do it, or any school could do it, it would be the University of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the deal. Is we believe that CDC's got a guy. We think that Texas boosters, and if you're letting David Pierce go, because we read off in Horde headlines what David Pierce did while he was here, that he did have 3 Big 12 championships. He made 3 trips to the College World Series in 8 years. So it's not like you're letting go a bad coach, but I feel like it is closer to that Tom Herman thing, that if you feel you've got another guy and you feel that you've plateaued at a point, it's time to go find somebody who can get you over that hump. And if you're doing that, you have to go get a big name. Most of these names other than Bakich from Clemson are names of guys who have SEC experience as well and may know what you're walking into the SEC a little bit more, where we know Texas is walking into a lion's den of SEC teams. I mean, you had 2 SEC teams in the championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right about that. And my man CB throws out there, always our historian, appreciate you, CB, that Tom Herman was fired and Steve Sarkisian hired on the same day.
There you go.
He said the